One, which will push the return of electrical goods to the retailer. Secondly, another ad, which will be on the scroll, is going to be an ad that highlights the Bring Back Days. We're actually going to focus it on Dublin, Cork and Galway. Then, with the remaining budget, that leaves us 45 other locations around the country, which gives us an average of 2 per county, which we feel is a pretty good representation.
A lovely presentation, but can we see the ad?
Oh, yep, sorry. We hope you love it as much as we do. We do feel really strongly about it, and we feel like we've really reached our target market with it.
Okay, you've gone into a lot of great detail, but the ad doesn't jump out at me to say it's electrical and battery recycling.
Yeah. We did want to get the message across in our bullet points and just, again in our tagline, but it's kind of one ad of a whole series of ads that you could potentially do. You could have literally the TV arriving at the recycle centre, another ad, you know, being recycled, or again the cooker bowling into the electrical supply store. That was kind of the key, and that could be the next ad, you know.
They're interesting concepts. I think it's a shame perhaps you didn't expand on them further in the presentation, but they could be developed more.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately we don't get that just from looking at that advertisement.
The majority of our agile plant is state-of-the-art architecturally designed shelters, glass shelters, whereas you've used a very old image there. I wonder why you used it.
And there's fantastic agile shelters, but we did want to kind of, you know, give it that kind of as real as possible. We didn't want that and too really polished, that it is actually just, you know, it wasn't something where we wanted something really, really shiny.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was very enjoyable working on it, and we really got on board with it. So.
And we will be recycling.
Glad to hear it.
With no more the teams can do, they must wait until tomorrow's boardroom to find out which campaign impressed the most.
I liked their ad. I thought it was entertaining.
But I think perhaps they liked their theme so much they didn't stop to fill in some of the detail.
I think it's a good ad. I think it's the wrong media.
They didn't use any kind of innovations. They didn't show us any scroller designs.
That was a big miss in my mind.
It remains to be seen, is this the poster that we're going to roll out in our national campaign?
As PM, I didn't particularly enjoy it because you're constantly kind of very paranoid. Are you doing a good job? And especially with Bill appointing me as PM.
Like, if Bill wants one of the stronger candidates, he'll keep me here because he knows that there's still a lot of crap to get through on both teams.
Like Jamie is strong, Will is strong, and Niamh is strong. Caroline is lovely, and we get on famously, and I think everyone in our team, I get on famously with, and everybody in the house, to a degree.
Will was kind of, he flaps around a lot and doesn't actually make a decisive decision, and he goes on about putting the bells and whistles on and crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and you're like, just do it, like, and not talk about doing it.
Everyone knows that I've been in the boardroom twice now. This was my big chance to prove myself, and if I haven't, then, you know, I'm going to be brown bread.
I think if we've lost this task, she'd have to take in people who had contributed least. And on my team, that would be Dave.
It is frustrating when you are carrying somebody like Dave on your split because there wasn't much contribution there.
There will be war over lights being brought to the Helix and not used, but there was nowhere for us to use them.
If Fusion haven't won this, it'll be my 4th loss in a row. And I think if I'm sitting in the hot seat again, you know, Bill is just going to be, here, you know, I'm sick of looking at you.
Genuinely, I do think she could be at risk about being brought in.
You can go into the boardroom now.
Literally, because when it comes down to it and you're asked what you did for the task, I don't know how much genuinely Ciara is going to have to say, unfortunately.
If anybody says from the other split that we didn't have too much to do, they will have to deal with me.
Afternoon, candidates.
Afternoon.
A bush shelter campaign. You were tasked with designing a bush shelter campaign for We Ireland. Elevate. So, Tara.
Yeah.
How do you think you got on?
In terms of following the brief, I think we did just that. I was very happy with the team. I think everyone pulled together. I think there's a lot of strong people here on the team, and I think they respected my judgment, and I think we worked together really, really well.
And you're very happy with what you did and the result you got?
On reflection, I would change a couple of things, but all in all, I am very happy.
Well, it's easy enough saying that with a rear view mirror, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Panis, what about yourself?
I think Tara did a great job, Bill.
A great job.
A great job. Everything went well until at the last moment that we had a little bit of a mix-up with regards to the printing. So that was a bit of a time management issue.
Time management. Same old story, isn't it? You mentioned, Jackie, that they were very disorganised.
Oh, they were extremely disorganised on the second day.
And Michelle is shaking her head
in spite of the fact that they had, very little to do. When the design team came back, there was absolute chaos. They had no handout, no printing done, and everything, but they were trying to rush everything at the last minute, and it just didn't happen.
And whose fault is that, Panos?
Well, I would say that primarily should be the project manager's fault, but of course...
But did you not hear me very clearly saying that you need to have a clock ticking in your head? Do you remember me saying that?
I do, yeah, Bill.
So what happened?
The thing was, I assigned Dave to do the props, and the props included the A1 kind of logos, and we were going to put spotlights on them logos. And I just assumed that Dave would have sent over the images to the printer and would have everything arranged.
Are you blaming Dave on this then?
Well, no, I think at the end of the day, maybe I didn't delegate correctly enough, and I think there was a communication error. We did send emails to the actual printers, and he never actually received them.
Fusion. How do you think you did, Barry?
With the time restraints, I think we produced a nice ad for the time we had.
Caroline?
The one thing I would say is maybe he just didn't delegate as efficiently as he probably should have. I felt at times he gave Will more things to do when I was on our split, but I just kind of took it in my own hands and just got on with it. And as a team, I think we worked well.
Will, what did you think of Barry?
I think he utilised his team members to the max. You know, he obviously knows the ins and outs of us now, and I think he definitely utilised that.
And Caroline thinks he gave you a lot of work and left her off on her top.
I'd probably maybe agree with that to a certain extent, Bill. You know,
why do you think that was?
Well, I suppose, Bill, myself and Barry have worked since day one. Obviously, this is he hadn't worked with Caroline before, so maybe he just felt he knew what I'd done previously.
Isn't it interesting, Barry, that even Will says that, and he backs up Caroline, that you didn't give her enough to do?
All of us have to use our initiative. Like, we all have to get stuck in. You don't need constant child-minding all the time. And I mean, I don't think I have to mind anybody in this team. I think they can all stand on their own feet. I think we did a sterling job for the time we had.
And do you feel everyone contributed?
I think everybody worked as hard as they could.
That's not what I asked. I said, do you think everyone contributed?
I think everybody had an idea and we took it all on board.
And you don't say with the exception of so-and-so who should maybe
I wouldn't
have done a
say
bit more.
exception, because I like to encourage people rather than, sort of criticise them.
Are you disappointed in some contributions?
I don't think I was disappointed, but I mean, it could have been on the money. I think everybody that...
You're being diplomatic.
I kind of am, yeah.
So, let's start with the advert. Whose idea was it?
It was my idea.
Panos. And do you all think this is original?
I mean, that's been done before, but what we...
Say that again?
It's been done before.
Has it?
But what we wanted to do is expand on it and make it different.
And did the focus groups give you any background?
Mm-hmm. Well, the focus group was divided because first we presented this idea, which was much more developed in our heads, and we had a printout. So they said they liked it, but they pointed out that we should be careful about how we associate the wanted with the recycling.
Well, do you know the first thing I said when I saw this morning? How would we be linking something like this to crime, the word crime? It immediately set me thinking about the criminal activities of dumping rubbish.
Illegally.
Does anyone understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
Bump.
100%.
What do you see? Wanted, crime is what you see.
Yeah.
And you thought of all that?
100% upon reflection, even,
So why didn't you just take it out? There's 3 or 4 people nodding their head on your team.
Well, no, I thought, you could see another side to it, that it's actually a crime to not recycle, and you should feel bad about it. There is a couple of different ways you could look at it, I suppose.
Tara, you're something else.
Okay.
How can you put the word wanted up and figure it means good, that there's a good crime happening here?
Well...
Do you get it?
I do, okay.
Don't be spoofing me.
Okay.
So tell me about the other one, the wee logo.
The major probably issue that I had was that from the last task I learned that obviously you shouldn't play around with a company's logo, and it was pointed out.
And you did?
Well, you see, the point was when I first got the draft I realised that it wasn't the company's logo, but then Najat had pointed out that they had used it in their other campaigns in the actual...
So hold on, was it Najat who tampered with the logo?
Well, yes, that's what they produced.
I didn't want to tamper 100%.
Najat, you got hammered on the GSK task when you tampered with their logo.
I didn't, on that task, I didn't know it had been tampered with. But I was 100%, I would...
But we all have to be aware the most important thing to anybody, individually or corporate, is the name. Simple as that.
No, I agree.
This is your advert.
This is, yeah. Look, we have to start. You know yourself, branding something. You have to start somewhere, and we are trying to educate people and make them aware of recycling. I mean, if I look at a Nike ad, all I need is the signature or the whatever it is. It's one stroke and you see it. And I mean, that's where we started with one kind of ad to build maybe a whole series of ads.
Well, you've just mentioned Nike there.
Yeah.
And they probably are the epitome of what we're talking about
Absolutely.
here in terms of recognition.
Yeah.
And you know one of the best things that are in ads? An excellent tagline.
Yeah.
Nike have got it down to that, and they'll eliminate everything else. You just have to do that,
Absolutely.
and you know that's a Nike ad. Where's your tagline?
Well, I mean, our tagline is we know the way to recycle for free. That's kind of our tagline, and we want to sort of
Do you think if I'm driving by with the car, I'd be able to pick all that up?
No, Bill, and we did look at that, and our main focus was people getting the bus, not people driving. Now, obviously, further down the line, if we had one of our characters on its own in the bus shelter after the brand was developed, yeah, they would relate to it. They'd see one of our characters in the bus shelter and they'd say, yeah, that's We Ireland, we need to recycle.
It appears to me like this is getting more like Disneyland than recycling.
Okay.
Jamie, what did you think of the focus group?
Their initial feeling from 2 or 3 people was that if you're doing a recycling ad or if you're convincing people to recycle, you know, keep it fun at least. You
Well,
know,
does this look funny to you in any way?
Well, after a long day's work, Bill, sitting like that and visualising yourself in the same bus stop, you know, I think it is fun.
But you've put legs and arms on the appliances. I mean, that's very like M&M's, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we aren't going for the M&Ms as such, but we did want to bring it to life in tune with their whole marketing campaign that actually We Ireland have.
The red colour?
The red colour.
Red, I mean, it does catch people's attention. I know that red can sometimes say stop danger.
You got that because Vodafone was mentioned.
Yes, we absolutely did.
So we've M&M, we've Disneyland, and we've Vodafone in the ad.
We have...
Sounds very original to me.
It would be the first time, I
Where
suppose.
were you going with coming up with your own thoughts on this and making it happen? Something really different and nothing long term. If I was I wouldn't be looking for you to build up characters that's going to get me business in 3 or 4 years' time. I want something to happen now. We're putting 100 grand into this. I want to see a reaction in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, before I move on, I'm a little confused, Dave, about what you really did on this task. What was this for?
That was going to be a reveal for the ad on stage, Bill.
Where did you get this?
I got it from the Burlington, Bill.
That's interesting, because I know everyone in the borough very well, and they gave me a call to know, did you see a blue cloth belong to us anywhere, Bill?
Well, I spoke to the duty manager there,
Yes.
Bill, and I told him...
Were you to get it back to him?
It's, well, we were taken to the Helix last night, Bill.
Did you make any arrangement to get it back to him?
It's not back there, no, Bill.
You're still looking for it? Well, I'll give it to him for you.
Thanks.
And, what's it? Oh, by the way, did you use it?
No, Bill.
Interesting, isn't it? Yep. But you did get lights.
I did get
You got
lights.
lights yourself.
Yeah.
And you didn't use them either.
Unfortunately, we couldn't because the printing didn't come through.
Was this all my money you were spending?
It was, Bill.
Thank you. Right, here's some reports for you. Fusion. Well done on your strategy. Adshel felt you understood how to target your message to a perfect We audience. Both Adshel and We Ireland appreciated your handouts. Elevate. You impressed Adshel with your better understanding of pedestrian traffic. Bus shelters are advertising not only to bus passengers, but to people in cars and passers-by. Fusion. Although your call to action was correct, your advert was considered repetitious and overcomplicated. All parties concluded last night that Elevate, the theme of your advert, worked. And We Ireland felt that the humour would encourage people to recycle. And Adshel felt that your design would at least attract attention. So congratulations, Tara, you're the winner. So Elevate, you're obviously on a bit of a winning streak these days. To reward you, I am sending you off to the Carlton Shearwater Hotel and Sea Spa in Ballinasloe, Bale Aughanaslua. And after you're buffed and preened, you will enjoy a 6-course private gourmet meal in one of their presidential suites.